All right, it is a beautiful day outside today. I think it's closer to 68 degrees right now, and it's about 5 o'clock, and I figured I, I have some time where I'm actually going to stain these doors right here. These, what are they called? Door trim. I'm going to sand anything that needs to get sanded off, and then I'm going to go ahead and stain them black. My hope is that it doesn't look bad. I don't think it will, but I just hope it doesn't look bad. Right here, I did leave the tape on when I painted these walls, so I have to carefully take that off because it's been dried for a minute. If I go too fast, I'll peel the paint right off, and then we're just fixing other things that we don't need to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Mark is gonna work on the tractor and get it fixed up, and we figure we have a couple of hours this evening to get a job completed, so that's what I'm gonna work on.
Right about this time in the reassembly is when I notice there's a little bit of surface rust starting to bubble up beneath the paint where the fender mounts up against the tractor frame. It immediately makes me start thinking, man, I should have taken the time to prep these fenders and the hood and the cowling while I had it off and just put a fresh coat of paint on it while I was at it. Really, that's just the maintenance and repair mind in me that's saying, well, now's the time because you have it off. And I just want to make sure that the tractor lasts for a long time. But knowing just how big the list is for all the work that needs to be done outside, and how dependent that list is on this tractor functioning properly, now is definitely not the time for a paint job. I guess in the off chance that I find myself with nothing more pressing to do in the long dark days of winter to come, I can bring the tractor into this nice warm shop, strip the fenders off, and give it a nice paint job. That is, if this winter isn't as chaotic as last winter. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens there.
I just finished staining the trim around the garage door. I have to say, it's kind of one of those things where I think I'm gonna have to get used to it. I'm not, it's kind of a little too modern for me. I don't know about it. It's nice accent, looks clean, looks tidy. I'm just gonna have to get used to it. Maybe when we do the stairs and the rails and stuff like that, maybe it'll like grow on me a little bit. But right now I'm kind of like, it looks fine. So, but the natural wood wasn't working because it was gonna wear, and it was just gonna wear, so we have to stain it. So I'm gonna do a little video and show you how it looks, but I think it looks fine. I don't know. It's gonna have to grow on me. As long as Mark likes it, that's all that matters. So essentially it's his shop. So do you like it, honey? Yeah. See, he likes it, so it's fine.
Ola finished her task for the night before I did mine, but she hung out with me to help me get the hood on, which is a lot more complicated by myself. We've been pretty anxious to get this tractor back in service so that we can get going on a lot of the projects that we have on our list that have to be done while the weather is appropriate. We have fencing to finish and improvements to make on our animal sorting and corral situation, as well as a couple other structures that we need to get footers in place so that we can start getting things covered. One of the big ones is to cover our water tanks so that we don't have any chance of freezing the pipes in the ground by pumping ice water down through the ground. The other big one is to get the concrete all around the perimeter of the shop and the footers in place so that we can get started building the 3-sided lean-to or skirt roof that goes around the sides and back of the shop that we've planned from the beginning to help give us additional covered space. The other major project is the solar system. We need to get those solar panels way up off the ground so that they're not buried in snow like they were last year. We have the plan and some of the initial materials, and it's probably one of the more pressing items initially on our minds. All of these projects have the same pressure in common: concrete. As long as we can get the footings in place, we can build no matter the season. Tractor is finally done and back together.
And it has reverse.
And forward. And it shifts to both. That's good to have that done.
We still need to complete the project of getting the fence up, regardless. We have the stuff, we need to just get it done. Now that the tractor works, we're pretty excited to get back to
getting this stuff done outside.
There's a lot of projects waiting to be done because of the tractor. So while Mark was working on the tractor, I figured I'd take one more thing off the list and paint the trim. I've been staring at it for the last 30 minutes and I'm starting to like it. So it's starting to look good. I think I'll caulk the ends so it looks nice, a little bit cleaner between the white and the black, but I think it's starting to look really good. I think it was still a really productive day.
Yeah, it's getting tiresome to have all these things on the floor everywhere because we have no shelving. So we're trying to get some shelves up so we can get things organized up on the shelves and put away and really make this space come together instead of being kind of the catch-all right now, because it's the only covered space other than the house that we have, the house and a couple animal shelters, but it's the only real covered space to put supplies and tools and things like that. So that's what we're working at. We were going to put the sink here.
Right.
And use the butcher block cutoff to do a sink top. But we decided, what's the point? I didn't want to traffic in and out of there, but it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. And then this space can actually be used with, like, the welder can be here, the grinding materials can be here. I can put a steel back plate on this wall for splash. Let's dedicate this space to your welding station. This is where the bench grinder can go, and I'm gonna steel coat this face with the steel back so that the grinding things won't be hitting painted and fall. Great. Hitting steel backsplash. And it would look cool. It'll look cool. Yeah. So we can do that. Let's use the butcher block. Okay. Cut it in half. It's 25 inches. We'll cut it down in half of the width. So that'll give us two 12.5-inch shelves. We have quite a bit of projects still on the list, but it's cluttered, it's messy. Making shelves is a day project. Let's just get it done. So so that's the idea. We're going to try to get some shelving so we can organize the space, because we're like we're bringing stuff in to the shop to keep it out of the elements and this and that, and then it's just got to sit on the floor and it sits in piles. And it's like the whole point is to get this organized. We got a kind of finished shop. No, we don't. It's not finished. It's not finished. It needs more work. It has to be functioning in it right now, but it still has to be able to get finished and get done. So let's get those shelves. That'll be good. I'm going to go ahead and stain these shelves so they could go up on the wall here in a couple of days or so when we get the brackets for them. Spit it out, would you? And so they'll be ready to go. But I wanted to not do it so black, so you will watch me kind of like wipe it off a little bit more. I kind of wanted to look like gunstock gray black kind of thing. So that's what my goal is. So Mark has cut me out these little pieces here. So once I'm done staining, they will still sit on the table just right. And then that way air can come through and dry really well. I have to say the stain is way more forgivable than actual paint. I think paint sometimes drips and you can
have the drips, and sometimes if you want to fix it, you have to scrape it off and then sand it and then repaint. As for stain, you just rub it off, thin it off, and you can get it to the right kind of tone that you're wanting. So I personally really enjoy staining rather than painting, even though painting is also really nice too. Well, I'm really pleased on how these shelves turned out. I like seeing the wood grain. It's really kind of my favorite. So I'm going to show you how it looks.
I left my layout laser at my sister's house, so I'm using my excavating laser because it's visible light. My 4-foot levels are too long by like 6 inches in here, and this is just going to be faster and simpler. So I'm doing the bottom shelf 18 inches up, and that gives me room for these jacks. These jacks are 16 inches, and my 5-gallon buckets of oils are 16 inches. So I'm going to go 18 inches. That'll give me room to clear underneath. The next shelf I'm going 14 inches because jugs like this are 12 plus a couple inches for clearance. The next shelf I'm going 12 inches, which box of grease tubes are 10 inches. Most aerosols are about 10 inches. So that would give me room to slide those in underneath there. So I have an organization to these shelves that I can stick various sized items and have that be my supply shelf. And then the very top one up here will be a few inches down from there, but come forward and I can put whatever I need to on there, whatever fits in there. So 3 shelves. I've got some 15-inch cutoffs of some 1/2-inch plywood. So I'm going to use those as the shelf surface, and I'm just going to do them with built-in. So I'm going to install a cleat all the way around on 3 sides, and then I will put the plywood down on top of that cleat, nail it down, and I'll nail an edge on the face, a face trim on the front of that plywood to stiffen it up and make it more rigid. So let's go. That one. And how high?
Well, if you have to be able to reach into it, and I could always use a step stool or taller shoes.
Let's say about eye level. About there.
Okay. So you know what's on the shelf and what's behind the shelf.
That way I can kind of see to the back of it, make sure there's nothing sitting on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you freshly paint that?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks nice.
Color, so.
Yeah, they look very nice.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. You did a good job staining those, huh?
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. That's nice.
Oh yeah, that looks really good.
That's good. Let's do that.
Okay. Because if you pull this hose or whatever, it won't be in the way.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. That would not have been good, huh?
Yeah.
Run a screw right through the shelf.
Yeah.
Oops. Okay, one shelf rated for 6,000 pounds.
And you're just gonna put cans on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can do that part if you want to go install the other one.
Yeah.
Can you reach?
Yeah.
And then that way we
Without
can.
a step ladder, but
That's right. It wasn't made for me though.
so let's do them the same height. I think.
I think so. And closer to like push it towards that way. Like I said, I think when you start using the hose, I think you want some clearance, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be best. We do it here and there, and we can center it
Yep. That would look nice.
a little bit so there's a little clearance there.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
What was
Grasshopper. We had a few trees that we pulled out a few years ago that had just kind of been off to the side and out of the way. And so we're gonna start with those. We've got to get going on some firewood collection. And they've just kind of been off to the sides and out of the way for the roadways, but kind of messy to the side. So since they're so easy to access, we pulled some of them up the other day. I cut them into log lengths. So we're gonna get all these logs cut, split, and stacked, get everything stockpiled in the shop so that we have a good starting stockpile in there for this winter. And everything else is gonna get split and taken up to the top of the hill where we keep our full length logs. We've got our little structure up there that we're gonna fill it full of split firewood. So,
yeah, we're hoping to have enough for, hopefully we don't have to chop firewood throughout the winter. We just want to have a couple of years reserve in there, or
that's the long-term
1 year enough for like the kind of winter we had this last year. So if we have another winter like we had last year, we'll be prepared.
Yes.
But if we have like normal winters, we'll be prepared times 2.
So once we get all this cleaned up, then we can take the splitter back up there and we'll just cut, split, stack right there.
Yep.
And then we have logs up there from this spring. We'll cut and split those and stack them in a separate section to finish seasoning out. But that way we can have them up there covered, drying out, getting good. I got another little pile back there at the back corner that we pulled out a couple of years ago when we were hogging this hill out. And I need to get them out of there anyway so that I can finish shaping that so we can get prepared for concrete. Concrete's a pretty pressing topic on our minds right now. We know that we are 6 to 8 weeks away from our first opportunity of any real snow. We can build through the winter, but the concrete footers have to be in place first. We'll never get concrete up here once the roads turn bad for the season. So I'm getting pretty anxious to put a couple of hoses on this dozer to put it to work around the backside of this shop, helping to prep for concrete, and also to put it through the paces to see just exactly what's wrong with it so that I know what I need to plan for this winter for repairs.
Okay, so we got as much firewood as we can possibly stack in the shop. We will be building a firewood rack, so this is just to have it stocked for now. But that's it for tonight. I'm kind of tired, so we're gonna call it a night.